And Jimmy Kimmel, he's very mad at me, and I know you're close to him. I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that, they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. We can have disagreements.
I agree.
I mean, you and I don't agree on everything. Look at this clash now, and yet we're cool. Sometimes I am a little brash about me when they compare me with the other late night guys. And I'm like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not. You could all exchange your monologues, all of you, and no one would know the difference in tone. Tone, okay?
Tone, yeah.
Whereas me, I'm not there. I'm not in on your, I don't just buy into the left-wing bull.
Bill Maher just tossed a match straight into the world of late-night TV. And this time his target was Jimmy Kimmel and the larger circle of political comedy. And yes, the internet absolutely exploded. Maher, who used to be friendly with Kimmel, opened up about how their friendship started to fall apart after he refused to follow the same path Kimmel chose. He didn't soften his words or try to play it safe. He called out what he believes is clear hypocrisy among late-night hosts, and he made it personal. It wasn't quiet. It wasn't gentle. It felt like a loud blast. If you're here for bold political talk with no filter, get ready, hit subscribe, and let's jump in.
That bugs me so much. My tribe is supposed to be the left, but these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Whereas the Republicans, they always come to my show. John Kennedy from Louisiana was on last week.
Yes,
took his beating like a man, like they all do. And we came across lovingly and smilingly and happily, and we can disagree.
I agree.
You and I aren't always completely on the same page, although we're very close because we're both smart guys.
Maher didn't hold back when he turned his criticism toward people on his own political side. He said too many on the left have shut themselves inside tight bubbles, only listening to people who think exactly like they do. They repeat the same ideas again and again without really testing them. Sure, it feels safe and comfortable, but comfort can make people weak. When they finally face real pushback, like someone questioning their ideas or pointing out flaws, they often struggle to defend themselves. To Maher, that's more than embarrassing. It's a serious problem. When open debate disappears, trust disappears with it. He's not just annoyed by the lack of real discussion. He believes it actually harms the very causes they claim to support. In his view, if you can't handle disagreement, you're not protecting democracy. You're slowly hurting it. And that, he says, is the real risk.
If that's not good enough for you, then I think you're the asshole. And I don't think Jimmy is an asshole.
No,
I think he's a great guy. And it bugs me that, because of what the latest thing was, that, we may never...
You guys should be thick as thieves and on the same page.
Even while throwing a few subtle jabs at Jimmy Kimmel, Maher says he's not trying to completely burn the bridge between them. He's reaching out in a way, saying that disagreeing doesn't automatically mean you're enemies. And honestly, that makes sense. People aren't copies of each other. We're not meant to share the exact same feelings, beliefs, or political views. A healthy society needs different opinions rubbing against each other. That's how ideas get stronger. But somewhere along the way, disagreement started being treated like betrayal. If you don't agree 100%, you get labeled the bad guy. Maher pushes back against that way of thinking. He says it's lazy and harmful. Disagreement should lead to conversation, maybe even heated debate, but not personal attacks or attempts to silence someone. For him, this goes beyond his strained friendship with Kimmel. It's about tolerance and honesty in thinking. Being able to argue without making it personal shows maturity. Treating every different opinion like a threat misses the whole point.
Well, maybe...
You can't tell me that Congress...
I don't mean Congress. I mean like amongst the tastemakers. Your sort of Tucker Carlsons, your Candace Owens, your Ben Shapiro.
You're right. They're all over the map.
They're all battling
They're fighting each other.
Right. And on the left, everyone's sort of lockstep in terms of the taste makers.
Right. Ben Shapiro, Yarmulke, Tucker Carlson.
Right.
Not so bad.
Right. So, but all I'm saying is whether you agree or disagree, at least they're being honest.
Let's be honest. It's probably not a full-blown feud, but there's clearly tension there. And that tension is actually part of how democracy works. Debate, friction, ideas crashing into each other until the weak ones break and the strong ones survive. That's how it's supposed to go. Now flip it around. Is that same spirit of open disagreement strong on the left right now? Not really. Many people don't fully agree with the far left side, but you rarely hear them say it out loud. Why? Because speaking up can bring backlash, social isolation, or labels. So some people stay quiet. They nod along. They avoid conflict. But that's not unity. That's self-protection. And once fear enters the room, honest discussion starts to fade. When questioning your own side becomes forbidden, democracy doesn't grow stronger. It struggles. Maher's argument cuts through all the noise. Any group that can't handle disagreement within itself is standing on shaky ground. Pretending everything is perfect and unified doesn't make it true. It just makes it fragile.
It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha. Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us. No one had to. You silenced yourself."
Things heated up even more when Jimmy Kimmel stepped away from his show for a few days because of controversial comments. You already saw the headlines, so no need to go over them again. But this is where Maher's tone became sharper. He focused on the hosts of The View and how quiet they were while Kimmel faced criticism. These are the same voices who often speak strongly about free speech and fairness. Yet when one of their own was under pressure, they didn't say much. Maher doesn't believe that silence was random. To him, it felt planned. Staying quiet was the safer option. No angry tweets aimed at you. No online backlash. But in Maher's eyes, that silence looks like hypocrisy. If you only defend free speech when it's convenient, then it's not a real principle. It's just a show. You're protecting your image, not standing for something real. And when political talk becomes more about pleasing the crowd than sticking to consistent values, trust falls apart.
Whoopi Goldberg continued, "Did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel?" No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. "5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point."
Like Kimmel, the hosts of The View openly identify with progressive ideas. But their outrage doesn't always go both ways. When someone on the right makes a mistake, they respond with strong emotion and nonstop criticism. One small comment can turn into a huge national debate. But when the spotlight turns towards someone on the left, the reaction often feels softer. The urgency drops. The moral anger quiets down. Maher calls that what he thinks it is hypocrisy. If your strong feelings only appear when it helps your side, then they aren't true beliefs. They're performance. He believes the silence isn't accidental. It's a choice. Calling out your own side means using the same standards for everyone, and that's uncomfortable. So instead, some wait it out until the outrage fades. Maher's complaint is simple. You can't claim the moral high ground while applying your rules unevenly. When values become selective, they stop looking like principles and start looking like branding.
It's just an upbeat party show. That's why they hired people named Joy and Sonny and Whoop. Girls, let me go out strong, okay? I promise it's happened to me, and I may go out after this show. We don't know. We don't know. And, Jimmy, I don't think what he said was exactly right. I don't. We don't agree on that. He didn't lose his job for it.
Even in the clip people are talking about, Maher is clearly defending Jimmy Kimmel in some ways, and that matters. There's still respect there. This isn't a petty personal fight. It's about where he draws the line. He's not trying to destroy Kimmel. He's reacting to what he sees as a bigger cultural shift in late-night television. His problem isn't about supporting Donald Trump or joining the MAGA crowd. It's about refusing to turn comedy into a one-way political weapon. In his opinion, too much of late night has become predictable. Constant jokes about Trump have turned into a routine, almost an obligation. And Maher doesn't want to sign up for that. He believes satire should aim at everyone. It should challenge all sides. When it only targets the approved villain, it stops being satire and starts being messaging. That's what separates him and what causes tension. Today, not following the group doesn't get called independence. It gets labeled betrayal. But Maher's stance is simple. He won't trade balance for applause.
It is a fool's errand to try to say that these nuts who do these things are any team. Jimmy's wrong, I think, to put him in one team. But, you know, look what this guy is doing. I mean, Jimmy has every right to be wrong, but look at this guy. He was doing video games with furries. He was on a game called Furry Shades of Gay 3. This kid is in his basement with VR goggles on, getting virtually a cartoon wombat. And you're going to put politics into this?
This might be the real moment where Kimmel and Maher started drifting apart. Maher openly criticized Jimmy Kimmel for turning almost every subject into a political statement, saying he believed that approach was mistaken. And it's not just about one host. Over the years, many late-night shows have leaned more into politics, moving away from light fun towards serious ideological debate. The easygoing charm that once defined the format, the silly sketches, unusual interviews, and everyday humor, has slowly faded. In its place are strong political monologues and familiar partisan takes on the news. What used to feel like a relaxing escape at night now often feels like more of the same daily political noise. Maher's frustration isn't just aimed at one person. It's about the direction of the whole genre. He believes late night used to be about shared laughs and unwinding, not constant political commentary. And in his view, that shift hasn't improved things.
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious. I mentioned this karma stuff on the show last week because I was relating how many texts and emails I got from people congratulating me on receiving a karmagram from the universe in the form of Whoopi Goldberg's chastisement.
Maher also spoke up when Whoopi Goldberg was temporarily taken off air after comments caused backlash. No matter the details, his position stayed the same. He argued she should have been allowed to say what she said without losing her platform. That's been his consistent belief for years. Defend free speech even when you don't agree with what's being said. In his opinion, there's a big difference between criticizing someone's words and taking away their voice completely. One is part of open discussion. The other can shrink it. That difference, he believes, often gets ignored. Calling someone out doesn't automatically mean you want them gone. Disagreement doesn't have to turn into exile. So when he critiques Kimmel, Maher presents it as a difference in ideas, not a personal attack. They can disagree about tone, politics, or direction and still respect each other. For him, that's maturity. You don't throw people away over conflict. You argue, you listen, and you keep the relationship alive.
Whoopi Goldberg shouldn't have to conform to or apologize for her views on race, as much as I disagree with them. And she certainly shouldn't have to sit out like a child and think about what she did. The View, suspending someone for sharing a view is like firing Pat Sajak for selling a vowel.
America often describes itself as a democracy built on free expression. At its heart is the right to speak, even when the message is uncomfortable or unpopular. Canceling someone just for sharing an opinion weakens that foundation. Disagreement is not a crime. Being offended is not the same as being harmed. There are already systems in place to deal with speech that truly crosses legal or ethical lines, like courts, workplace rules, and public accountability. Those systems exist so that public opinion mobs don't get to decide someone's fate. When cancellation becomes the first response, it chips away at democratic values. No one should lose their job or reputation simply for expressing a viewpoint. Debate it, challenge it, question it. But don't silence it. That's not democracy. That's fear dressed up as virtue. And that wraps up today's story. If you found it interesting, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.